दोस्तों जय हिंद। जब आज चर्चा में हम लोग बैठे हैं तो 15 अगस्त बहुत ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है और कारगिल दिवस हमने अभी हाल ही में मनाया है। 26 जनवरी हो, 15 अगस्त हो या कोई भी ऐसा मौका हो जहां देशभक्ति का जज्बा हमारे नौजवानों में जोश मारता है, तो एक गाना पृष्ठभूमि में आपकी याददाश्त में जरूर आता होगा। ए वतन हमको तेरी कसम, तेरी राहों में जहाँ तक लुटा जाएंगे। आज भी जब ये गाना सुनते हैं तो रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं। और जो जज्बा है उसके बारे में तो नौजवानों को जानना जरूरी है, उनको बताना जरूरी है। और यही एक हम उद्देश्य लेकर चले हैं कि अपने दर्शकों को ये बताएं कि ये जो नौजवान कॉलेज से, स्कूल से ट्रेनिंग सेंटर में जाते हैं और ट्रेनिंग सेंटर के फौरन बाद वो बच्चों से उम्र में भले ही बच्चों के बराबर हों, लेकिन जो काम कर जाते हैं वो बहुत बड़ा महान काम वो कर जाते हैं। और इसलिए ऐसे लोगों के बारे में जानना हमें बहुत ज़रूरी है। हमारे नायक हैं, हमारे विरासत जो आज़ादी की है उसके हिस्सा रहे हैं और आगे आने वाली पीढ़ियों के भी ये चेतना में, समग्र चेतना में, राष्ट्रीय चेतना में उनका बहुत ज़्यादा योगदान होने वाला है। तो आज हम एक बुक की चर्चा करेंगे जो इन्हीं ऐसे नौजवानों के बारे में है जो देश की सेवा करते हुए वो ऐसा उत्कट साहस उन्होंने दिखाया, उत्कृष्ट उन्होंने कर्तव्य निर्वहन का एक उदाहरण पेश किया कि आज हम इनके बारे में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा भी चर्चा करें तो वो कम से कम लगेगी। The book today which we are going to discuss is on Kargil heroes. This book is a collection of accounts of 10 brave warriors of Kargil War who were willing to sacrifice their lives for motherland. Peppered with personal stories and photographs from family, friends, and comrades, this book traces the lives of outstanding warriors of Indian Army. This book aims to fill the gap and bring to the fore some outstanding acts of bravery and knowledge from the formative years of these champions till the time they became the legends they are today. Painstakingly research based on authentic records and personal interaction with family and friends, Colonel Satish and Tyagi had personal and official connect with few of the heroes of this book. And I feel very privileged and honored, sir. Jai Hind very much, Jai Hind, sir. And I welcome you for the discussion, knowing that this is not your first book. About other books I will mention, but on this book specifically, Kargil Heroes, what was the motivating factor? Because you have already written a book which is titled, I think, Hill to Hill, or Bunker to Bunker, something like that. We'll discuss about that little later. But what was the motivation of writing this book?
First of all, Jahan, and thank you, Captain S.C. Tyagi, for getting me on the show of yours. And I greatly appreciate that these kind of shows, ensure that the tales of bravery reach, or certain things which must be known to the masses are made available through this channel of yours. Also, at the same time, I would begin with my great salutes and Shraddhanjali to the heroes, Kargil heroes, who have made supreme sacrifice in Kargil War. Not only those, I have not mentioned not only about those who have made supreme sacrifice, even those who have done wonders, who have shown gallantry, which is way above the normal level. Their mentions also certain stories I have picked up. They are hale and hearty and are in service or retired today. So there are 10 heroes which I have mentioned, and as what you have asked, what was the motivation. Like I said, that I have written books. So we would talk about those books a little later. But this book in particular, I wrote because I felt that when I met a child the other day, I asked him, "Are you aware of Kargil? Where is Kargil?" So, yes, vaguely, child means 10, 12 years old. And yes, sir, I have heard, I have a little bit, and but there was not much of. So I could make out that even people who are 20 years old, or 22, 23, 24, they were young children, or they were just born at that time in 99. So there are not very many people who know those many details, although we think that all the details of Kargil are known. So I said, what is the best way? And the best way is to give the stories which are outstanding stories in the story format, and to make them interested in it, I ensured that they should their childhood, I should connect with the hero right from their child, like they had the same fears as a normal person like you and me have as a child. They had the same feelings, they had the same shyness. Some of them were the opposite, that they were too naughty and too. But all of them subsequently, after training and going into the army and in service, maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whatever period they had served before they went into Kargil War, but they proved themselves to be the best, the most, the bravest of brave, and they achieved super success and super gallant actions with that. So, what made them that might interest, what made them what they are or they were, uh, is the motivation to send it to people. And I've selected those 10 stories, which are not most of them are probably not that very known, barring one or two, for example, Paramveer Chakra holders. So you would find these stories very interesting, and basically to keep you updated and motivated, and so that the next generations, they keep continuing to know about them. And that was the aim to write this particular set. I hope that answers your question.
Sir, people say that everyone in army is a hero. You are also a hero for different reasons, because you have done something which no other officer has done, and in that sense you are a hero. And I at this stage feel obliged to share with our viewers a bit of your background. Viewers, Colonel Satish Tyagi is an infantry officer who was commissioned in Rajput Regiment of Indian Army and held various instructional and staff appointments at the NDA and the Army War College. He took part in the operations of IPKF, Indian Peacekeeping Force in Sri Lanka, and voluntarily served in the Kargil War zone during Operation Vijay. He was the founder commandant of the course Battle School in Kashmir Valley. After retirement from active military service, he had served in the Ministry of Electronics and IT and as a cyber consultant with the Government of India. He also has been a research fellow at the United Service Institute, which is think tank for Indian Armed Forces, where he authored his first book, The Fourth Estate, a force multiplier for the Indian Army. His another famous book is The Kargil Victory, Battles from Peak to Peak, which I mentioned at the initial stage of introduction. The book which we are discussing right now, Kargil Hero, is available from the publisher's website, and also at Amazon. And I have given the link at the description box. So back to Kargil Hero. Uh, People say that officers do not mourn their martyrs, and not officers, soldiers don't mourn their martyrs. But if you remember, whom you remember often, very, very often, out of these 10 heroes you have mentioned in the book?
It's a very difficult question to answer. You see, to me, I had the privilege and fortune to volunteer and go to the battlefield, and I was advised, "Why are you going there?" I said, "Sir, I would be there maybe as their Guruji because I had trained them in the core battle school in Kashmir." So I said, "I know all of them, and somehow I will miss telling these tales of Kargil War, that I had the opportunity to go to Kargil War, but I did not volunteer and stayed put and hid behind in my room." So when I went there and I met all the people there, uh, I went from one post to another, and I went and stayed with them, suffered with them, almost everything I did other than shooting at the enemy. Rest everything I had done. I slept in the air bunkers, and I also got the bombs falling around me, saving people, saving myself, others. So uh, when I look back, I have not only these 10 faces. I have so many faces to remember, and I want to write about them because it's not only these people. Everyone who was there, like you said, everyone is a hero. So every soldier is a hero, and anybody who was there, I could see in their eyes, I could see in their conversation that they were so excited. They were so full of josh. They were so full of bravery in their hearts. So there are plenty of them. I remember one after another. So unfortunately, if you say that pick any one of them, I don't think I would be doing justice to so many of them whom I have met. And their stories are still perhaps not out. Time and opportunity will be there, and we would be writing definitely. So I hope that takes care of your next question.
Uh, Tyagi sir, you have been instructors uh, at NDA and this uh, battle school. As instructor with very keen observation and sharp eyes, what was the common trait you have found in all these heroes? If I request you to mention one single trait which is common in all the heroes.
Well, to my mind, the will to excel in whatever you're doing and come out on the top was the reason I feel uh, in all of them. You know, if you say that identify any one trait, but there are others as well. Like taking initiative and going ahead and doing a lot of things which are only a courageous man will undertake. So, so these are the two perhaps very common. But like you said, will to excel, I would read the first one.
I mentioned that few of the heroes of this book
Yeah,
are known to you personally.
yeah,
Like, for example, Major Chima perhaps is from your regiment. There are
yes.
few other heroes whom you knew personally even before they joined army. Maybe I am wrong, but then this is the impression I got in one of the chapter that you knew that hero personally. But then uh, beside the Chima, Major Chima, who all were known to you before they went to Kargil War?
Let me say, I mean, I will have to count who all, but let me begin with Major Chima. I didn't know him from before. He
Okay.
was he's been commissioned in my battalion, and very briefly I saw him when he was just commissioned. So a tall, handsome youngster. He joined the battalion when I was leaving the battalion, and the battalion went to Siachen.
No, my idea of asking this question was that
Huh,
as commandant of battle school in Kashmir,
huh.
most of them would have been trained by you under your
Yeah, yeah,
command.
yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I take it that out of 10, at least 6, 7 of them were from
56.
your
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
So they
So
have passed your scrutiny once upon a time. They have passed your scrutiny,
okay,
and
okay.
that is probably the personal connect which I wanted you to share with our viewers. Uh,
I,
now,
I, I would I would get some interesting episode as well. For example, Vijayant Thapar. And then in this book, I have, although not mentioned about Nikejako. So these were the youngsters who were playing basketball, and when they were under training. So in the evening games period or something, they used to be playing basketball. So I used to often bully them that you are not passing the game. And that was being very selfish of me, being the commandant, expecting them to pass the ball to me. But then I used to bully a couple of them. These two I very distinctly remember, and I used to make them stand at Southam. And also Vijay Thapar, once I was passing through his room, like a normal child, music was playing very loud. But the music was very nice. So next day I ordered him to send his tape to me. That time those audio cassettes used to be there. I said I'll copy it so that this nice music which I heard. But I said please tone it down. Don't play it so loud. So like the normal any one of us. So today when you look back, I interacted with some more of them. Uh, you remember them as normal people like any one of us. And one like Nair, Anuj Nair. Uh, I even if I had not interacted with him, he was in my neighborhood, and every second, third day we used to pass through each other. But of course, we knew, so we would have interacted very officially with each other. I had not known him, but the outstanding fate of going on Mashko Height and Tiger Hill and Tololing, I did not know, and I could not have predicted that these are the same people who will have become so big that tomorrow they would be the beacon of light to the others. So you never know who out of the normal human beings would stand out. Yes, you certain at times you get a feeling that this man is worth. I think he will do something.
when
Some of them,
you
like
mentioned,
sorry, can I finish this? That
please,
like
please,
that Naga officer, he was so humble. I could never believe that he will discard his shoes and climb that height. But he was so humble when interacting. Uh, so, uh, what happens in the battlefield is the real you who comes out, and which uh, some very trained eyes can do it. But with all my humility, I can say that yes, I knew that some of them would be big people, but I didn't know who exactly they would be. Yeah, sorry, you were asking me something.
In fact, I was not asking, I was commenting about you only. And I have interacted with many officers. And one thing is very common, and in your comment, that is confirmed, that as instructor, you had all the love, care, and compassion to your students. And even when you tried to make the projection of being no nonsense officer, but you were very soft at heart, and that is what has been shared. I know you might not even remember the name, Colonel Samrendra Kumar, Colonel Sam
Very
Kumar.
long. SM
He
Kumar.
mentioned about you with a lot of fondness and respect. And here, Manoj Kumar, Captain Manoj Kumar, he also supports same view that गुरु हो तो सतीश त्यागी जैसा. तो
Yes.
ये जो एक पर्सोना एक होता है, सोल्जर्स जब इंस्ट्रक्टर हो जाते हैं तो उनको स्ट्रिक्ट भी होना पड़ता है, लेकिन जो लव और केयर उनको अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए दिखानी होती है, वो भी बड़ा छुप कर दिखाते हैं. तो ये तो आपने सर जाहिर कर दिया. मेरा सवाल अब दूसरे तरीके से था कि आपने एक चैप्टर में मेंशन किया हुआ है, और वो मेंशन किया हुआ है एक मेजर के बारे में जो कारगिल के समय तो बहुत बड़ा हिम्मत दिखाया उसने, वीरता दिखाई, लेकिन बाद में he has become kind of recluse, and I am talking about Major Sonam Wangchuk, which you have referred as, saint. We have had few examples in past also, and the most prominent is in Hanud, that after achieving certain height of bravery and achieving that glory, they become spiritual, religious. So सोनम वांगचुक के बारे में आप सब थोड़ा सा कुछ बताना चाहेंगे, because this is from Kargil War, which I could see, leading case where soldier turns to spirituality and becomes kind of recluse. Is it battle fatigue, the trauma of seeing death so closely, or something else?
Definitely, I remember having written about Sonam Wangchuk. Sonam Wangchuk, I had not known him before ever, and I had only heard about him, and that too in Kargil War. And unfortunately, I didn't meet him during Kargil War, but I wrote about him. And in one of my books, I wrote the previous book. I wrote about him with a photograph and attributing another Sonam Wangchuk in the same setting as him. So when I met him last, for the first time, I met him very recently, just about 2 years back, when going to the Kushwant Singh Literature Festival. I was talking about my book Kargil Victory, and there he was also present, Sonam Wangchuk. So that was my first interaction. So far, I had always thought that I have that he would be a very no nonsense man, and very such a tall, firstly a personality physically, and a tall man by stature, of having been awarded the Mahavir Chakra during the battle. And his story, which I came to know, that when he was called and given an order that, okay, you have to go immediately, your company can keep coming, and there is a height, so there is a helicopter which is going, you sit down in it and take your rifle. So the first thing which I heard about him was that he was wondering कि सर मैं एक राइफल लेके, एक मैगजीन, दो मैगजीन लेके, एक अकेला मैं गोल टेकरी के ऊपर बैठ जाऊंगा 18,000 फीट पे, उससे मैं कैसे पाकिस्तान को रोकूंगा? So that was the first time I had heard. And this episode, I asked him and discussed with him. I said, "What were your feelings?" So the way he explained. So what I'm trying to say, that the soldier in him was always present. Sorry, the saint in him was always present from before, but it was heightened. He was a Buddhist, devout Buddhist. He says that I was blessed by Dalai Lama when I had come to visit Dalai Lama in Leh. That is the time I got the orders to rush to Kargil. The war had just begun. He was one of the first few to rush. So when he moved, and so he was. So I found the spirituality in him existing from before. But having said that, I I I totally agree with your point. You see, you look at Samrat Ashoka. I mean, he turned to Buddhism. I mean, the Samrat Ashoka, after having with the with the war, after the war, he renounced. So similarly, there are many of us that when you see death and destruction. For example, when I was in Kargil, in Indian peacekeeping force in Sri Lanka, and for 2 years I had seen enough death and destruction. I had seen the death very closely. For the first few people I saw dying, you know, set my thinking that what would their families be thinking? How can we help them? How can this be avoided? So it tends to make you spiritual. So I don't fault him. As a matter of fact, I would say that every soldier perhaps must be going through it, and it's natural. And he is as brave as if you give him a rifle today, probably he'll fight once again in the same fashion. But he has chosen his path, that I don't have to do much, and let me contribute to the humanity in a different.
I also found it very amazing that when I was reading about Havaldar, and I, he is the only NCO which you have mentioned in the book, Havaldar Digendra Kumar Mahavir Chakra,
Rajat,
Havaldar Kumar.
to Rajat.
And the amazing part which I found was that when he was offered a promotion, he refused very politely. And this is the quality which would not be found so commonly, because one gets awarded, one gets promoted. That is part of the whole soldiering about is, because one fights not for getting the medal, not for getting the promotion, but when one goes to the war and comes back, country wants to not only recognize but also promote. And this Havaldar Devendra Singh refuses his promotion. Are there many other such examples?
Yeah, yeah. Well, first let me cite this particular one, because I may not be able to, because whatever little I have known about others, uh, uh, I mean, such things have not come across. I mean, there was no need for any such decisions to be taken. But in this case, I asked him, what was the reason? Why did you, refuse to be Havaldar, yeah, get next promotion? So, in all his humility, this soldier says, "Sir, जब मैं ऊपर चढ़ा तो वहाँ हम सब साथ इकट्ठे थे, हम सब ने साथ लड़ाई लड़ी, ठीक है, मेरे मेरे हाथ से क्या कहते हैं उनके बंकर में उनके कंपनी कमांडर को मैंने मारा। तो लेकिन लड़ाई तो हमने सबने इकट्ठे लड़ी थी। उनको कोई अवार्ड नहीं मिला, मुझे कम से कम एक अवार्ड तो मिल गया है। तो इन लोगों को भी कुछ ना कुछ तो मिलना चाहिए। चलो मैं प्रमोशन नहीं लूंगा तो शायद इनमें से किसी और दूसरे का प्रमोशन हो जाएगा, तो जो जिसने मेरे साथ लड़ाई लड़ी है। तो मैंने उनको कहा कि मैंने कहा आप बहुत ही जबरदस्त आपकी सोच है, और ये बहुत बड़ा, ये भी एक बलिदान की भावना है कि जो किसी आदमी में कॉमन नहीं होती। आपने पूछा और जगह भी देखा होगा, तो ऐसा मेरे को बहुत कम नजर आया है। ध्यान आएगा तो मैं शायद आपको बता दूंगा, अभी तुरंत मेरे दिमाग में नहीं आ रहा है। लेकिन हाँ, लेकिन ये हवलदार दिगेंद्र बहुत ही इसका आप अगर बैकग्राउंड देखें, इसके बारे में पूरा पढ़ें, तो आप देखेंगे कि इनके फादर भी सॉरी इनके फादर भी डेकोरेटेड हैं, इनके ब्रदर भी डेकोरेटेड है। बोलता हमारे घर में कोई ऐसा वो नहीं है, हमें कंपटीशन है कि कोई भी आदमी पीठ दिखा के नहीं आएगा, गोली खा के आएगा। तो फादर भी क्या कहते हैं उनको सुना है वो पाकिस्तान में इस्लामाबाद में कहीं ब्रिटिश आर्मी से कोई भाग के आ गए थे अपना कुछ करने के लिए, लड़ाई लड़ने के लिए कि देश के लिए, और रास्ते में पकड़े गए तो उनको भी गोली लगी। ये इसके इनके भाई को भी गोली लगी दूसरी किसी रेजिमेंट में, बटालियन में। और इनको बोला हमारे घर में तो साहब ये एक रिवाज है कि वरना तो तुम किसी काम का नहीं है अगर तेरे को लड़ाई में एक जरा भी चोट नहीं आई। तो बहुत ही उम्दा शख्सियत है ये हवलदार दिगेंद्र कुमार। मैंने तो उसको रैम्बो का नाम दे दिया है कि तुम बिल्कुल जो है बिगड़े हुए टाइप के फौजी हो, जिसको डर नहीं लगता और दुश्मन के पीछे भागते रहते हो, हुक्म उदूली हो ना हो, लेकिन आपने दुश्मन को मारना है। तो
इनफैक्ट मैं तो दिल से सलाम करता हूँ ऐसे जज्बे को। और आपने भी बताया ही कि बिल्कुल ये तो ऐसी भावना है जिसकी कदर की जाए, और ऐसी भावना रखने वाले के बारे में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा विमर्श किया जाए, लोगों को उनको पता हो, आम भारतीय, कि कैसे हमारे वीर सैनिक हैं जो अपने कर्तव्य करने के बाद कोई अपेक्षा नहीं रखते, और जब कुछ मिल जाता तो उसको भी पूरे बड़पन के साथ और बड़े नम्रता के साथ मना भी करते हैं। क्योंकि कोई चाहत नहीं है कि उनको वीरता का पुरस्कार मिला या फिर उनको प्रमोशन मिला, क्योंकि जो वो कराए कर्तव्य की भावना के साथ, ये है दरअसल कर्मयोगी जो कर्म कर रहे हैं, और उसके बाद ईश्वर के ऊपर है। एक और प्रकरण मैं आपसे जानना चाह रहा था, वो बाद में बताऊंगा। पहले तो ये डॉक्टर राजीव माथुर, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने ये कमेंट लिखा है, ये कर्नल त्यागी को मैं पढ़ के सुनाऊंगा, श्रोताओं को भी पढ़ के सुनाऊंगा। और कर्नल त्यागी को मैं ये भी बता दूं कि मेरे वो किताब को कारगिल दिवस के दिन ही मंगा के पढ़ा है। तो वो लिख रहे हैं कि कैप्टन त्यागी, आफ्टर योर recommendation on social media, I got my book, and that too on Vijay Divas. Colonel S.C. Tyagi, sir, thank you for and so captivating fashion. तो ये कैप्टन राजीव माथुर का था, और बीच में डॉक्टर राजीव माथुर का ये कमेंट था, और बीच में ये कमेंट कैप्टन मनोज कुमार ने कहा, वो जो हम चर्चा कर रहे थे मेजर सोनम वांगचुक की। और उनका कहना ये है कि उन्होंने तो मेजर सोनम वांगचुक को जीसी के टाइम से ही देखा था और उनके बारे में जानना शुरू किया था। और अब मैं जो चर्चा कर रहा था सर, वो ये थी कि जब आप एक ट्रेडिशन आपने किताब में भी मेंशन किया है, और मैं अपने दर्शकों को भी बताना चाहता हूं कि जब ऐसा लगता है कि कोई सिपाही युद्ध के मैदान में जा रहा है।
I'm sorry, आपका video is lost. पता नहीं आप लोग मुझे देख पा रहे हैं कि नहीं। मुझे आइडिया नहीं है, लेकिन जब तक कुछ बैकग्राउंड में आए तो मैं जब तक ये वापस ना आए, रेस्टोर ना हो, मैं पर्सनली कैप्टन मनोज कुमार, मेजर मनोज, और आई एम सॉरी, आई डू नॉट नो योर रैंक. Thank you so much, and Samrendra Mohan Kumar, some of my favorite students or cadets in National Defence Academy, Karakwasla. My thanks to you for remembering me in such positive terms. It's your greatness that you still see me in that light. I'm perhaps one of those nasty instructors you would have seen me before. So anyway, thanks a lot. Yes, I do hold my students or my in a very close high esteem. I'm lucky to have been instructor at the National Defence Academy, Khadakwasla, College of Combat, later Army War College, and then in the Core Battle School, where I have come across. So I say कि half the Indian Army probably मैंने train करी. So कोई ना कहीं किसी ना किसी स्टेज में हम लोग आपस में मिलते जुलते रहे हैं. So I wonder what has happened. Let me check if there is any message. So thank you so much for giving me that big an honor and that kind of a feedback. And I salute you for your magnanimity. As regards Manoj, you have asked me whether these books must be distributed in primary schools through government oblique NGO. Let me say that this book has been written in, the publishers are the National Book Trust, and the National Book Trust publishes for the sake of children only. And this is one of the books, I would repeat it again when the broadcast begins, that India at 75, this is one of the books which has been selected. 75 books were selected for publication by them. In that series, this is one of them. And this book is being distributed not only in the schools, colleges, I mean, even in universities, the embassies abroad, and it would be published probably in all the languages, 22 languages, and very shortly you would probably get a Hindi version. I requested Hindi, Marathi, and one of these Kannada or Telugu or these kind of languages, uh, Malayalam. Uh, it must be published very quickly. So hopefully you would get it in all the schools, colleges, and in all languages. And maybe because there are people who are from abroad asking for it and they cannot get it delivered, so perhaps there will be a Kindle version as well, which is available. So uh, I take it that this book would be available everywhere. So are you able to read me now, Captain Tyagi? Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, there is some, I can hear a little bit. Hello?
अभी दर्शकों थोड़ा सा इंटरप्शन है कनेक्शन में. I feel extremely sorry for that. We are going to connect very soon, but for the benefit of our viewers, I wanted to mention the point which I was trying to make with Colonel S.C. Tyagi. The tradition in armed forces, when people go to war, soldiers, officers, JCOs, all of them optionally write a letter to their next of kin for the purpose of when they unfortunate circumstances they are not welcome back. In fact, all my three networks are down repeatedly. They are getting disrupted, and that's why not able to connect to Colonel Tyagi.
No,
So what I was mentioning was, जब सिपाही युद्ध के लिए युद्ध क्षेत्र में जाते हैं, सीमाओं पर जाते हैं और कोई हाई रिस्क ऑपरेशन में इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, तो ऐसा चलन है कि एक वो लेटर लिखते हैं नेक्स्ट ऑफ किन के लिए, और उस लेटर में जो भी वो अपने दिल की बातें बताना चाहते हैं वो अपने लिखते हैं उस लेटर में, और किसी भी जिम्मेदार आदमी को, जिम्मेदार अपने साथी को या सीनियर्स को वो एक लेटर छोड़ जाते हैं. और कई बार ऐसा होता है कि वो लेटर जो उनका लिखा हुआ है वो उनके वीर गति प्राप्त होने के बाद ही उनके नाते रिश्तेदारों को मिलता है. बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण होता है, लेकिन ऐसा एक चलन है फौज में, ताकि लोगों को मालूम रहे कि जाते जाते वो वीर योद्धा क्या सोच रहा था अपने बारे में, अपने परिवार के बारे में, समाज के बारे में और सेना के बारे में. बहुत ही मोटिवेटिंग लेटर भी होते हैं ये, बहुत ही मूविंग लेटर होते हैं. पढ़ने वाले की आंखों में आंसू आ जाएं. आप एक संबंध स्थापित कर लेते हैं ऐसे वीर योद्धा के साथ जो अब आपके साथ नहीं है. तो इस तरह के जो लेटर लिखे जाते हैं, ये कारगिल के युद्ध के समय तो जो मेरी जानकारी में है 2 ऐसे लेटर लिखे गए, जिनमें से एक लिखने वाला
Hello?
Welcome back. Sir, I am
Hi.
extremely sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
When things go wrong in 1,000 different ways. So this is
I
one of the. I have 3 network and all 3 networks are.
नहीं, no problem.
जी सर, मैं
No,
जो
no.
आपसे चर्चा करना चाह रहा था, बाद में इस वीडियो को हम फिर से एडिट करने के बाद अपलोड करेंगे। तो
ठीक है.
मेरे पॉइंट जो डिस्कशन का था वो ये कि फौजी जब जाते हैं
Again, we've lost the feed.
Sir, you can switch on your camera. Yes.
Yeah.
तो जो युद्ध के समय जब सैनिक जाते हैं सीमा पर, तो एक चलन है कि एक चिट्ठी लिखते हैं, जो अनफॉर्चुनेट सिचुएशन में जब वो ना रहें तो उनके परिवार के सदस्यों को, उनके हितैषियों को दे दी जाती है। ऐसी चिट्ठी ऑपरेशन में भी होती है और कॉमन है। इंडियन आर्मी में बहुत सारी ऐसी चिट्ठियां लिखी गई। शायद ऐसी चिट्ठी हमारे श्रोता जो सैनिक पृष्ठभूमि से उन्होंने भी लिखी होंगी। यह 2 चिट्ठियां आपकी किताब में चर्चा में आती हैं। एक तो वो जो चिट्ठी वीर सैनिक को प्राप्त हुई थी वीर गति प्राप्त होने से पहले, और वो खोल के पढ़ी भी नहीं गई थी।
राजेश अधिकारी.
और एक और चिट्ठी है जो विजेंद्र थापर ने लिखी थी, उसके बारे में भी बड़ी चर्चा है।
Yeah.
मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था